Hi, it's Amy Romeo and welcome to Faux Leather Crafts Camp. In today's video, I'll be showing you how to make these coin wallets using faux leather, heat transfer vinyl, and a Cricut. I have two fun designs for you. One is ice cream themed and the other is flower themed. And I'll show you how to get the SVGs for this project in just a moment. But first, let's go over the tools and materials we'll be using. So I'll be using my Cricut Maker today, but you can use any of the Maker or the Explore machines for this project because this pattern is a little bigger. It's too large to cut on the Joy, but you can use any of those bigger machines. We're just using that regular fine point blade that comes with the Maker and the Explore machines. And then we'll be using some faux leather, and I have a fun summer print for the flower design, and then I also have a fun ice cream cone print in a couple different colors for the other design. I'll have links to all of these materials for you. But if you didn't want to use an ice cream cone pattern, I'll show you how you can turn this into just a regular coin wallet using any solid or printed faux leather you'd like. Now we'll be adding some accents with some heat transfer vinyl to this design. You could use regular or glitter heat transfer vinyl, and that'll be really fun. I'm going to use my Easy Press Mini to press the heat transfer vinyl onto the faux leather. You could also use a regular Easy Press that's larger, and you'll be able to press more of the area at once. I'll be using a little cover sheet. This is a Teflon sheet that I've trimmed down to size. You could use butcher paper or parchment paper. I have my heat pressing pad to help protect my surface. I have a weeding tool for weeding out my vinyl, some craft scissors or curved scissors for cutting little detailed areas, trimming up any fuzzies on the faux leather if necessary. Some blue painter's tape. This is going to help us get good cuts with our faux leather. We'll be using the purple strong grip mat for the faux leather and the green standard grip mat for cutting the heat transfer vinyl. And then the key to these little coin wallets is the snaps. And I'm going to be showing you how to use these snaps. They're called Kam Snaps, and they have 4 elements. And it's really easy to apply these using the special Kam Snap pliers. And I'll be showing you more about how this works. The snaps that we'll be using are size 20 extra long, and it's important that they're extra long because we will be pressing them through a couple folded over layers of faux leather. Okay, so let's hop in and I'll show you how to get the SVGs for this project, and then we'll jump into Design Space and start cutting out our mats. To get the SVG for this and all of the daily event projects, visit the event page at amyromeo.com/summer24 or click the link in the description. You'll also see the option to upgrade to the event VIP pass, where you'll get instant access to all of the daily event projects, bonus files, and more. So we're starting with a blank canvas in Cricut Design Space, and you'll click on Upload and then Upload Image, and you'll browse to where the unzipped SVG files are for this project on your device. There are 2. There's an ice cream cone design and the flower design. Let's open the ice cream cone design first. Click Open. You'll see a preview and then click Continue and click Upload. And these designs are very simple. The ice cream cone wallet has just 3 shapes that you'll cut. The first shape is the faux leather shape. Down here, this is the actual wallet that we'll cut from faux leather, and we will apply the snaps to create the wallet. This piece up here is optional. We'll cut from the heat transfer vinyl of your choice, and it is going to go inside the wallet. So when you open it up, you will see it inside the flap and inside the wallet, and it just adds a finished look and a fun pop of color inside your wallet. Again, totally optional. And then this layer is our ice cream drips layer. This is going to go on the top of the wallet, and you will see the drips down the front flap and also along the back. Now, I mentioned in the introduction, if you did not want to make this an ice cream cone design, maybe you don't have the ice cream cone faux leather, that's totally fine. I would just eliminate the drips, and then you can use this wallet shape along with the liner, and then it can be a regular wallet that's not ice cream themed. So that's how we cut the ice cream cone pattern. I want to go ahead and delete that one off of the canvas, go back and grab the flower one, because the flower one is the one that we will cut today in the demonstration. And then off camera, I will cut out the ice cream cone shapes as well, and in this video, we'll assemble both of them at the same time. So here's our flower pattern. Again, we'll just continue and upload. And that will bring this one into Design Space. This one has one more layer, And here we have the light blue is our faux leather layer. And then we have the inside layer that we will cut from the heat transfer vinyl. I'm going to cut that from a yellow, and I'm also going to cut the centers of the flowers from yellow heat transfer vinyl. And then I'm going to cut the flowers from a purple glitter. But again, you can choose any colors you'd like. So I'm going to go ahead and click the Make It button on this one. We're cutting our materials on a mat. And the first thing we want to do is go through and mirror each of our mats because faux leather and heat transfer vinyl cut in reverse. Now I'll go back to my faux leather mat, and here I'll make a note of what size material I need to place down on my mat so that my shapes will cut completely. And it looks like this one is going to be about 8.5 inches wide and a little over 7 inches tall. And then here's my heat transfer vinyl layer. Again, I'll be cutting this from yellow. So I'm just going to space these apart a little bit, pull them away from the edges and from each other. And same thing here, just pull it away from the edges. I'll click back on that faux leather mat and click continue. And I'll be cutting this mat using the faux leather paper thin setting. If you don't have this bookmark as a favorite like I do, you can click on Browse All Materials and search for it. Keep in mind, if you're using the Explore Air 2, you'll need to turn your dial to custom before you can search for and find this material. So faux leather paper thin with more pressure. And here's that reminder that we're just using the regular fine point blade. For your vinyl mats, you will cut that using the manufacturer's recommended cut settings for your particular vinyl. So I will use the iron-on setting for my regular iron-on, and I will use the glitter vinyl setting for my glitter vinyl mats. Okay, so let's hop back over to my overhead camera. We'll get our mats cut out, and then I'll show you how to put these coin wallets together. So I've gone ahead and trimmed my piece of faux leather down to the size that I saw in the mat preview screen that my coin wallet will cut from completely. This piece is about 9 inches wide, so it's the perfect width, and then I just trimmed a small piece off of the bottom, and I can use this to make earrings or wristlets or something like that. I'll set that to the side. I'm going to take this and place it pretty side down on my purple strong grip cutting mat, press all over with my hands, and then I'm going to use that blue painter tape to tape this down to the mat on all sides. We have our faux leather paper thin setting all ready to go with more pressure. So we'll just load our mat into the machine and begin the cut. So once the cut is complete, don't unload the mat yet. Use your sharp weeding tool and lift up an edge of the cut to see if the cut went all the way through. If it did, that's great. If it didn't, don't worry. You can go ahead and repeat the cut as many times as needed just by pressing that cut button again. You can do that over and over as long as you haven't unloaded the mat. But this cut looks good, so I'll go ahead and unload the mat and remove my shape. And there are some little tiny holes at the end of each of these flaps, and you'll want to go through, use your sharp weeding tool and just poke those through, because that's where our little Kam Snaps are going to go. So you'll just do that for each of the sides, and I'll give you a little preview here of how this is going to go together. The little side flaps are going to fold in, the bottom is going to fold up, and then this will be our little flap. But now let's go ahead and cut out our vinyl mats, and then I'll show you how to press this together before we assemble the wallet and put the snaps. So I've gone ahead and cut out the wallet shape and also all of the vinyl mats, and I've weeded away the excess vinyl. So we have our inside liner, and then we have our flowers and the flower centers. What I'm going to do now off camera is return to Design Space, cut out the ice cream cone design shapes as well, and then we'll put them both together. Okay, so I have all of my layers cut and weeded, and I've poked through all of the holes. There are 4 holes on each of these faux leather shapes, one for the flap and then one on each of the bottom flaps. So these aren't like earring holes where they have to be perfect and punched through really, really clean. You just basically need to be able to poke your sharp weeding tool through, because all we're doing is putting the little post on these Kam Snaps and they'll push right through any size little hole you have here. So what I'm going to do now is match up my faux leather, put it pretty side down, and I'm going to match up the inside liner that I cut from heat transfer vinyl. I'm going to match it up here, just match up those outside edges. And also there's a hole in your vinyl that's going to line up with the hole in your little flap here. And then I'm just going to cover and start to press. So I'm using my Easy Press Mini set to the low setting. If you're using a regular Easy Press, I would set it to about 265 degrees to start, and you can always go up from there. Now a bigger Easy Press is going to make it easier to press this all at once, but I really like to use the Easy Press Mini because I have more control and I can better see where I'm placing my vinyl on top of my faux leather, especially when I'm pressing very small things. But it'll take a little bit longer to press this with the Mini. So I'm just going to go ahead and press all over, trying to get about 10 seconds of heat on every area of this piece of vinyl. So I'm going to start to peel the clear carrier sheet on top of this vinyl. I'm going to peel very slowly, holding the faux leather down flat on my pressing pad. And if the vinyl looks like it's bubbling or it's lifting up, I can just place this right back down and press some more. But this is looking good so far. There we go. And now I'm going to cover just one more time and press for about 5 seconds all over, just to really get that vinyl well adhered to the faux leather. And that looks really good. So now I'm going to flip this over, and I have the flower decoration for the front. So here are all of my flowers with the little centers cut out, and they're sort of in a diamond shape here, and this singular flower at the bottom, this one is going to line up, and the center of that flower is going to line up with the hole for the little Kam Snap that's going to go right here at the bottom. So line up that center, and then the other little flowers are going to sort of fall into place. And now I'm just going to cover and press. So that looks pretty good. Now we're going to line up the flower center layer, and this might take a little time, but don't worry if you can't get them to line up perfectly. You can always cut them apart from each other and place them manually, so don't worry too much about it. That actually looks pretty good. Okay, so again, we'll just cover and press. Okay, so I've pressed the flower centers and then removed the clear cover sheet and just covered and pressed each of the little flowers for a few more seconds. And this is warm, so I'm going to let this cool nice and flat underneath my heat pressing pad while I repeat the same process with the ice cream cone design. So as I mentioned earlier in the video, if you did not want to make this an ice cream cone theme with the ice cream cone drips, then you can just cut this pattern from any faux leather you'd like, press that liner in, and then you're good to go. But I'm going to show you how to add the little cute drips. And before I do that, let me remind you of how this is going to go together. So these two edges are going to fold in, the flap is going to fold up, and then this little top is going to come over. So I designed the little drips so that they will kind of be on the front and the back. So see how there's drips on the front and there's also drips on the back. So that's basically where you're going to place this little top layer here. Just going to line it up so it's touching the edges here, touching the edges here. You can adjust it if you need to. There we go, that looks good. And then again, we'll just cover and press. So again, this is warm. I'm gonna go ahead and place it underneath my heat pressing pad and let it cool. And I'm gonna take just a moment to get all of the things ready for the Kam Snaps, and then I'll show you how to snap these together. Okay, so I have my 2 coin wallets, all of the fronts and the inside are pressed, and now it's time to put them together with the Kam Snaps. So just a reminder, the Kam Snaps come in different sizes. I'm using size 20 extra long. And what the extra long means is the little bit that pierces through all of the different layers of faux leather, that little pointy bit is extra long, and that's what's going to help us secure 3 layers of faux leather together inside the same snap. So size 20 extra long, I buy them from the Kam Snaps website. You could buy them on Amazon, but in black or white. If you want these colors, you'll need them from the website. And again, I'll have links to all of my materials for you on these. I bought an assortment pack, so I have lots of different colors. And then inside this little bag, you can see it says there's 10 sets. And a set has 4 elements. So I got this little handy dandy graphic when I purchased my pliers, but there's 4 elements to the snap. So you can look in the little bag and you can identify these 4 different parts. I like to pull them out and just lay them out exactly like the picture has them. There's a cap and a stud, and those 2 components are going to make up the snap that goes on the flap. And then there's a socket and another cap, and these 2 components are going to be on the body of the coin purse so that the flap snaps into this component. Okay, so you need the Kam Snap pliers to do this. When I bought them, they came with a lot of these little black pieces that you can swap out for here, but honestly the one that mine came with works just fine, so I haven't had to play around with that. But they did give you some little pliers if you need to swap this out, and also they have an awl so you can poke the holes if you need to. Remember I said you don't need these holes to be perfect like earring holes. You really just need to be able to push this little piece, the cap, through your faux leather. So that's what's great for that. So what I'm going to do now is get my first one set up, and I always like to do the flap part first. And this is a little bit stiff, so I think what I'm going to do is heat up my Easy Press Mini and just hit this with a little bit of heat to help it fold over. But in the meantime, I can go ahead and apply the first little snap part. So again, on my instructions, I've got the cap and the stud. So the cap is going to be this top piece, and that's going to go on the outside of the little flap here. And I'm just pushing it through. So there it is on the front, and there it is pushing through to the back. And then we're going to press the piece that's called the stud. And the piece that's called the stud has little bumps on it. So the little bumps go down. And then this is the part that's going to go into the socket. And then all we're going to do is line up these pieces inside the pliers. Let me get it sort of situated so you can see. So the cap is inside the black part, and the little stud part is inside this white part, and then I'm just going to squeeze. So you want to squeeze really firmly, and see that's attached our little stud piece onto the cap, and it's firmly on our little lid. So let me just press this for one moment so it bends a little smoother. Normally you wouldn't need to do this, but because we do have heat transfer vinyl on the front and the back of this design, it does make it thicker. See how that's much easier to fold now? Okay, perfect. So now the next part that we want to do is the bottom. So what we're going to do first is take our next cap, and you're going to put it on one of these on the end first, either the left or the right, it doesn't matter. Pop it through so the cap is on the inside. Then you're going to fold that flap in, fold the other flap in, pop it on that same little cap post, and then bring up the bottom piece and pop it on the same cap, just like that. Now what I like to do before I squeeze the little piece on is I like to put a little bit of blue painter's tape onto these parts so that it stays in a nice shape. When you press this down, it's going to take the shape of however it is. So if these are sort of cockeyed into here a little bit crooked and you get like a weird gap here, it's going to stay that way. So I like to put a little tape there, and then all we need to do now is put our second piece. This is called the socket, and this is a little bit trickier, but again, we're just putting the black part is going to go on the back where the cap is, and the white part is going to go on the socket. Line those two things up and squeeze. And this is great if you want to try this first on a couple pieces of faux leather scraps before you're doing this for your first time if you're nervous about this. But that's it. See, there's a little piece, and then this is going to fold over and snap in here. I'll remove my little tape that's holding it in place. And we're just going to bend this over, pop it in. Isn't that cute? Perfect. So now I'm going to go ahead and repeat that process with our flower design. And you'll see that I've designed the placement of this flower so that the center will be your actual snap cap, which I think is pretty cute. We'll put the next piece on the stud. Those little bumps are going down. And I'm just going to squeeze. You have to squeeze really, really firmly on this. Use two hands if you need to. There we go. And there's the other one, the little flower design. Now this one is obviously pretty busy. It's a pretty busy pattern, and then the flowers are busy too, but I wanted the flowers to wrap around. If you used a solid background, then the flowers would stand out a little bit more, but I think it's still a pretty fun design. So here's another look at both of these projects together, the ice cream coin wallet and the flower. And I hope you enjoyed this project, and I can't wait to see your coin wallets. Remember, to get this and all the event files for the Faux Leather Crafts Camp event, visit amyromeo.com/summer24. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.